Hey guys, if you're new here and you like what I'm putting out, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you never miss an upload. So, Mighty Morphin issue number 10 is finally out, and this issue has been built up since the very beginning, since Mighty Morphin started. Ryan Parrott has been planting the seeds of these events ever since the very beginning of this comic run, and the payoff is finally here with Mighty Morphin issue number 10. And this issue was an entire flashback set many years ago in Eltar, and you see the origins of Lord Zedd. You see how Zolfram became Lord Zedd and how Lord Zedd looks the way he does. And in this video, we're going to talk about it in my review of Mighty Morphin issue number 10. Now, before I talk about the story, I want to talk about the artwork because they were able to get Dan Mora back for this one issue to do this very important issue because it's a big deal, this issue, because all the flashbacks have been leading up to this. And like I said, this is the origin of Lord Zedd, so they got Dan Mora back for this issue, and Dan Mora's artwork, mwah, chef's kiss. I love it. Dan Mora's artwork is always on point, and it's really freaking good in this issue because he did a lot of the character designs in this issue, such as the Eltarian monks, the Dark Specter's assassin character. Like, he did a lot of character designs in this issue, and they stand out and they look really freaking amazing. And especially like the final page we get in this issue, which I'll get to at the end, like near the end of this review once we get to it. Freaking amazing. The detail that Dan put into the coloring, well, not the coloring, the art, because the coloring was done by Raul Agulo and assisted by Jose Incranoy Fernandez. I do apologize if I butchered your name, but also special props to Ed Dukeshire for doing the lettering in this issue as well. Like, everyone did an amazing job when it came to this issue and how important it is for the franchise, for the history of a very important villain. Now, with that said, let's talk about the review. Let's talk about the issue with Mighty Morphin issue number 10. So, the issue opens up on the planet Eltar with our three boys, Zordon, Zolfram, and Zardius, and they're discussing the whole Zeo Crystal, and although they go into details saying, hey, maybe we can start a family once this is all over, Zolfram has some very interesting words saying, all I know is conflict, and I'm not abandoning the fight anytime soon. So I do like that mindset that that character has, like, all he knows is war, all he knows is fighting, and he's not going to step away now, even though things are looking peaceful. So after that, we then cut to the planet Bandora, where you have some foreshadowing before we get to the main meat and potatoes, and that is something is on the way, and that is an assassin sent by Dark Specter, and this assassin was the biggest curveball when we saw their appearance in the previews, because a lot of people thought this was Lord Zedd. I thought this might be Lord Zedd, because I thought they were throwing me for a curveball when this character first appeared, but that's not the case. This is some random assassin. We don't know their name. We don't know if they're still out there in the Power Rangers universe, but their design looks really freaking cool. I do love their design. The whole silver spiky armor, the mouth plate, the snaking glowing green eyes, the red skin, the cloak. Oh, their design looks so freaking cool. I hope that this character appears again, and I do wonder, like, this isn't the last they've seen of him, because he doesn't die. They don't die, so this character might still be out there in the Power Rangers universe, depending on how long their lifespan is. Maybe it's someone we already know, who knows? But this character, I do hope we see again later down the line. So, the whole assassin gets into the Bandora Temple, he goes to grab the Zeo Crystal, and that's when Zolfram shows up along with Zordon, and they fight this guy, and it's a really awesome battle. I do like the fight choreography for this battle, because characters are bleeding, and the blood detail is very interesting, because on one panel, you see purple blood, and then you see like red blood coming out of them. That could have been different characters, but it kind of reminds me of whole Piccolo from Dragon Ball, where he'll have red blood in one scene or purple blood in the next one, where they do change it quite a fair bit. So that kind of reminded me of that. But the fight scene that Zolfram and the Guardian has is freaking amazing, where they're just going at it, trading blows, headbutting each other. It is freaking amazing. And Zordon intervenes, and because Zordon intervenes, he gets in the way, and he ends up getting poisoned by the assassin, and this pisses off Zolfram. Like, Zolfram snaps. He says, "You want to see me fight dirty? I'll show you dirty." And he just wails on the motherfucker, nearly killing him. Like, he takes him out. Like, he's screaming at this guy saying, "Are you afraid of me now?" It is just freaking amazing just to see this guy snap, where he went from 100 to 1,000, seeing his ally in danger, seeing their life at risk. And now that we know who Zolfram is, that relationship dynamic is very interesting moving forward in the nearby future. And I can't wait to see where it goes once we leave this flashback and get back into the main comic in issue 11 moving forward. So that is something. So the assassin's defeated. Zolfram doesn't really kill him. He just gets taken to space jail, put in space prison on the planet Eltar, but Zolfram nearly snapped and nearly killed him. But the assassin sort of mocks him by saying, "Hey, this fight isn't over yet. Dark Specter won't stop. He's willing to sacrifice anyone and anything to get what he desires." And Zolfram's like, "Well, I'll stop him at any step. I'll be there to stop him at every step." And the guy's like, "I believe you, but how long can you do this for? Do the Grand Elders share the same convictions as you? And will they have the necessary needs to save the universe?" So this guy's going on this big villainous speech about how many people are you willing to let die and stuff like that. And this gets into Zolfram's head, and you see it getting into his head throughout the issue. Like, this is what Zolfram has been talking about ever since issue 2, I believe, when we saw him speaking with the Grand Elders, where he wanted to find other means to stop Dark Specter, because Dark Specter was out there destroying planets. And if things are getting this serious, where people close to him are getting hurt, I can understand his reasons for snapping. So after the assassin is placed in space jail, Zardius shows up, and Zolfram's like, "Hey, where were you?" And Zardius is like, "Well, I was deploying the scan pylons in the outer space, just as you commanded. And I saw the assassin's ship, but by then it was too late. If only I'd been there." So straight from the get-go, and I'll get to Zardius' story in a bit, because his story seems really sus with everything that he was doing, especially near the end of the issue, and we'll talk about it in a bit. So Zolfram goes to see Zordon in Space Hospital, and Zordon's slowly recovering, and Zolfram's like, "Hey, I'm going to speak with the elders, I'm going to sort this shit out, just wait here, no need to move, just slowly recover." So Zardius and Zolfram go to speak with the elders. So Zolfram speaks with the elders, and they talk about moving the Zeo Crystal to another galaxy. The M47 galaxy is what they call it, and Zolfram's like, "Oh, cool, we're moving the crystal, that's a great idea. I'll put it on my ship and we'll take it to Eltar." And the Elder's like, "Nah, we won't need to do that. The Zeo Crystal's too dangerous to come here." And Zolfram's like, "But Eltar is the most secure place." And the Elders are like, "Yeah, but we don't want to make a mistake. It could destroy this planet and innocent lives will be lost and the war might lose." And this is when Zolfram snaps. We're saying, "Where in your divine wisdom would you have me take it?" And they reply with, "Well, we've got several promising candidates, but the decision will be made at the palace." And Zolfram just snaps at these guys, saying, "I've held my tongue long enough. You guys are making shit decisions. People have died. Worlds have fallen. Why are you finally deciding to act now?" And they shout back at him, saying, "You forget yourself." And Zolfram's like, "Hey, we possess weapons that can destroy our enemies. Why are we too frightened to use it?" And the elders reply back saying, "We're protectors, we're not conquerors," which is what they said earlier. and we must always act in vertile and the preservation for all life. And Zolfram just gives these guys a death stare. Like, I love the artwork when Zolfram's got this look on his face saying, does this not include the lives of your own people? Like, my friend is downstairs and he's dying. And for what? Just so you can debate the merits of war? And they're like, well, Zordon knew the risks, and you serve at the pleasure of the council of the Elder Guardians, and we must all make sacrifices for the greater good. So these elders are something, and whatever they're planning, I don't know, I've got my suspicions. I can understand they're not the wisest of wise people, but something's up here. Something is up here with the decisions they're making. So after the meeting, Zolfram has a Thanos moment. He's like, fine, I'll do it myself. Fuck it. He walks towards the Bandora's palace, or goes inside the Bandora's palace, and one of the monks approaches him, and they raise their arm up, and Zolfram's like, out of the way, get out of the way. And he removes, the Guardian removes their bandage on their arms, and it reveals like no skin at all, and that's sort of like an indication of what we're going to see next. But Zolfram doesn't give any shits. He walks up to the Zeo Crystal, grabs it, and then there's a giant explosion. Zolfram is just bleeding everywhere, and then you see a giant explosion from outside the palace of Bandora. But what's also really interesting, as the explosion happens, you see dinosaurs watching, which is very interesting. Dinosaurs, Mighty Morphin. That's a nice little reference. I don't know if that was intentional. Well, one of them looks like a weird mantis dinosaur, but they look like dinosaurs. So there's a big explosion on Bandora's palace. So after that, Zardius then shows up and finds Zolfram's skinless body. And Zolfram is calling out for Zordon, saying, Zordon, help me. And Zardius finds him and says, the Zeo Crystal is cursed. I believe someone is trying to kill you. And Zolfram's like, impossible. And Zardius like, don't speak. We need to get out of here before people find you. And people do find the two of them leaving, and Zardius is like, no one help me with him, and starts blasting the Guardians of the Zeo Crystal who check on the whole situation. So this is where Zardius has some more interesting choice of words, where he says to Zolfram, saying, someone has been plotting against you from the very beginning, waiting for the right moment to remove you from power. We must make haste. The elders have eyes everywhere, and we don't know who we can trust. The trap was meant to destroy you but has failed. You have survived and will rise up stronger than before, and I promise we will uncover the guilty party together. Zolfram of Eltar may have died today, but a new force in the galaxy was born. And then on the final page you have Zolfram's skinless body sitting on Lord Zedd's throne. Well, it's Lord Zedd. I didn't have to dance around it. It's the origin of Lord Zedd, because you have Zolfram with all the tubes going into his body. He's got this mouthpiece going on for him. We've all known it was going to, well, some of us have known, it was going to be Lord Zedd eventually. How we got to this point, we had no idea. And now that we have the origin of Zolfram becoming Lord Zedd, it was a freaking awesome ride, and I'm glad we got that, because this changes a lot of things moving forward, and it changes the history of Power Rangers in a very big way. So yeah, that's Mighty Morphin issue number 10, where we get to see the origin of Lord Zedd. And I do wonder how the fandom is going to handle this flashback, because I'm sure that a lot of people are going to love it, and some people are going to hate it, some people aren't going to care, because when a character's origins is revealed in the comics for Power Rangers, the fandom does get a little bit mixed with how they handle it. It depends on who's writing the comic, because some people love the psychopath, some people didn't love the psychopath, and stuff like that. So I do wonder how people are going to react to Lord Zedd being someone from Eltar that Zordon knew for a very long time and now is his mortal enemy. I love it. I personally love it, because you got to see that dynamic of friendship grow with each flashback. And now that we know these guys were best friends and now they're mortal enemies fighting each other in the present day, it's something. And I do wonder if Zordon is going to learn that Zordon is Zedd. I do wonder if he's going to get that reveal, because the audience knows it. Is the cast of characters in this comic going to find out? Is Zordon going to find out? That's the big question. But either way, I really enjoyed this issue. Solid 10 out of 10. I think Ryan did an awesome job. Dan Mora did an awesome job. A lot of people did an awesome job with this comic, like I mentioned at the start of the review. And I'm excited to see where we're going to go moving forward as this comic continues. With that said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to turn on all notifications so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!